The Pumpkin Carver. A group of kids dares each other to carve pumpkins late at night in a cemetery, unaware that some traditions should never be broken. On Halloween night, 4 friends, Eddie, Sarah, Luke, and Marcy, brought their pumpkins to Blackthorn Cemetery. The old legend said that if you carved a pumpkin on sacred ground at midnight, a spirit would inhabit it. The dare was simple: carve your pumpkin and leave it behind overnight. If it was still untouched in the morning, the spirit had accepted your offering. They laughed as they carved spooky faces into their pumpkins. But Marcy, always a prankster, carved her own face into hers, distorted into a mischievous grin. "If I become a pumpkin, I better look good," she joked. The clock struck midnight, and an eerie mist slithered through the cemetery. Sarah thought she saw a shadow move between the graves, but Luke waved it off as her imagination. They left their pumpkins in a row on the graves and sprinted home. The next morning, they returned. Only 3 pumpkins remained. Marcy's pumpkin was missing, and in its place was an empty, shallow grave. "Maybe a raccoon dragged it off," Eddie suggested nervously. That night, Marcy's parents called. She had never come home. Frantic, the friends returned to the cemetery to search, but as they reached the clearing, a horrifying sight greeted them. Marcy's twisted face was staring at them from a freshly carved pumpkin. It grinned even wider, and before they could react, the other pumpkins began to shift and shuffle, the faces they carved now twisted and contorted in agony, as if alive. The legend had been true after all. Spirits weren't given to pumpkins, they were stolen from the living. And once you carve the wrong face, you belong to the cemetery.